Hey, it is Matt Mosley, the Matt Mosley Show. It's 1 to 3. Got a lot of people yesterday who were signing up. They're signing up. Oh, Scotty, sorry. Let's Swingler's with me as always. Let's put some light on the topic. Let's get a little more light. And let me take off my glasses. Just look at you guys, see what you're up to today. Good to be with you. I've been up and down the road today. I am delighted to tell you that tomorrow we will be having the show. We'll have a sit down with what a week to do it. We've got and he's traveling because he's got to get to Dallas for Texas OU weekend. But the most legendary OU coach of them all, and that would be the living legend Barry Switzer, will be stopping by the Mosley Show. So we'll get that, and we'll decide when we want to share that. But we're gonna hopefully catch up with Coach tomorrow, and then we may be sharing that with you on Friday to get ready for Texas OU. And I know Scotty's very excited about that. I know this is going to be fun. Scotty is, his 1 week off from Baylor football. We'll probably try to watch as much football as you can and spend that whole day, just kind of hold up. It's something we don't get to do that often. I will be traveling to see my daughter at Texas A&M, and so I'll be down there for the Ags and the Florida Gators. Get it on at 6 o'clock, I believe, Saturday evening, and so there'll be the big build up to that. You know, Scotty, every day now seems to be, or every week, the blackout operation. Every school has to, what's Baylor going to wear this week? Are they going to wear the gold? I mean, it's been happening for a while now, but my gosh. And so I think A&M Saturday's going with some throwbacks, maybe to the 70s or 80s, with the white helmet, with the real white and maroon look. It's not a bad look. I don't think it's a bad look. I think it's better than the black, because teams that wear the black, sometimes you're like, well, that's not really part of who you are. So this is does have some heritage. And Scotty, I did educate myself on this, the Texas Tech bevel. They're going to level the bevel, and this Texas Tech. And so this new rebrand logo that Texas Tech is doing with their tees, the block tees, I feel a little bit better about it, because I think they did this. This is more of a retro thing than I understood it to be. They did something like this in the 70s. So in some ways, the flat double T, it's not completely new to the Tech people. I would say Tech people, Scotty, are about 50-50 on this deal, from what I can tell. And maybe it's a little different than that, but just because I think you get used to how the bevels look, and then all of a sudden it's not there, and so it may be cleaner, but it's certainly not what people are used to from Texas Tech. The bigger issue in my mind is not so much the bevels. Tech people, Scotty, seem to be indicating that the color is different. Like it's a different blend of red. And if I don't know if that's the case or not. If that is the case, that's weird. I mean, it's always weird. And then some people say it looks like Temple. It looks like the Temple tee. That's been some of the complaints.
I've seen both of those criticisms, and I believe I agree with them both, actually. It is definitely a different shade of red.
Okay, good. Scotty is able to walk us through, because Scotty has a little bit of a flair for this kind of design, and the fact that we always have nice graphics, that's because Scotty's able to kind of do all that. And so he has a bit of a feel for when these teams are trying to do some different things. So it just, I don't know. I mean, the thing you have to say about, like, the SMU screwed up that whole pony up thing, and they didn't realize their fan base liked it as much as they did. And so they had a lot of backlash and a lot of backfire. I'll say this. People may hate it, but the Texas Tech thing, especially at a time when Texas Tech is now top 10 in the country, number 9 in the country. It's kind of a fun thing to talk about. And what I didn't understand is the helicopter, the AD, this AD is suddenly, and I don't know, it's because they have so much money now or something, but Scotty, you know how Baylor tried to get Mac because Dave Aranda is so quiet and so not much of a media guy that Mac used to go on with me a lot, with David, like every week. And I think Baylor finally was like, well, should we have our AD speaking for the football program more than the head coach? Probably not. So they've kind of scaled that back a little bit. But this Tech AD, Kirby Hocutt, he's suddenly like active on social media, calling the Houston game a home game for Tech. And then he was like leaving the field in a helicopter to level the bevel. I guess what they were trying to do is show the new logo. I don't know why he was in a helicopter, but why wouldn't you have like your head coach or, you know, your star quarterback or somebody? Really? Is your AD going to be like is he the new face of the program? I mean, I'm shocked they didn't use Cody Campbell. Cody Campbell has become as big a face of that program as anybody. And so, but remember, Scotty, the Big 12 now runs through Lubbock because they are 2-0 in the conference. And they did win an outright conference title in 1955. By the way, I don't even think that was in the SWC. Was Tech in the SWC 1955? I don't know that they were. I thought they came a little later than that. I do know they were in there in the 60s because my dad sacked a certain Tech quarterback named Tom Sawyer. That's right. Parents' Day weekend, circa 1968. That was Big John Mosley was a sack artist in that game. Had 2 sacks of Tom Sawyer. That's more than old Mike has been doing. Did you see that stat, Scotty? That was a funny one. Like that the receiver for the Bengals had more tackles. I guess having to tackle people on like people returning interceptions and stuff. He has more tackles than Micah does this year. Said Micah has 4 tackles. The receiver for the Bengals has 5 tackles on the season. So anyway, and speaking of the Bengals, Joe Flacco will start this week. And so he left the Browns, and you think, well, by process of elimination, Dylan Gabriel's now the starter for Cleveland. Flacco's gone. I mean, doesn't Shador have to be the backup, right? Not so fast, my friends. Don't forget that they have Bailey Zappi, I believe, on the roster. And Scotty, they've refused to call Shador, designate him as the backup quarterback. Have you ever seen an organization like, I'm not going to get into why this is or if it's Dion's fault or, you know, who it is in an organization that doesn't like him. But they don't like him. They hate this kid. I mean, again, and he may be, I don't know what he's like behind closed doors. I don't know what he's like in practice. I don't know. He did the weird thing where he didn't use his voice. He mouthed the words to an interview when again, some people got real caught up in that. I did not. But that organization is going out of their way not to really make him comfortable. Like, if they wanted to, there are ways that they could say, hey, we love this kid. Hey, Shador, I mean, you know, you can take care of your own. And they're not really doing that, which, again, we should have known when the GM and the head coach, when they drafted him and they sat there looking like they were in pain, they might have not loved that pick. We have footage of this.
I mean, those reports came out immediately during the draft, right? That this was a an owner thing, and the player personnel were not pleased that you take Dylan Gabriel, and 2 rounds later you take Shadur Sanders. So there's certainly some biases, some bitterness, some disappointment, I think, that goes into this. But let's not kid ourselves, Matt. They're playing coy. If Dylan Gabriel were to go down in the first series Sunday, it is going to be Shadur Sanders. I mean, come on. Like, do we really think they're going to trot Bailey Zappi out there? Frankly, if they think Shadur is that bad, the best thing they could do would be to trot him out there. And if sure enough, if he backpedals into 4 sacks and throws an interception, then you can shrug and say, well, look, we told you he wasn't that good. The worst thing they could do, frankly, is keep him on the bench. Because then there's going to continue to be this drama. So I think it's a non-story to me. I think they're playing coy. If Gabriel goes down, or if Gabriel throws 3 picks, they're going to put Shadur in.
All right, I kind of want to put a bet on it with you. I'll because I'm not as sure as you. I think there's an intense dislike, and I don't know what this kid has done other than just act goofy with the media. And that's just immaturity, but it's not. I mean, whatever he did, racing his car going 90 or whatever, was worse than what he did to the media that day. Okay, Scotty. By the way, are you wearing a sweatshirt? Isn't it like 95 out? Is that a dad? Is that a dad? Oh,
this is my dad sweatshirt. It's the first day I've ever worn it. I got it for Father's Day.
Okay, cool. I think
that's
fair.
That's me, and that's Marigold right there.
Is it an actual likeness of you guys, or is this just a dad thing you can buy off?
It is from a real photo of us. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. Okay. I wish we could throw in there. I saw. Wait, are you saying your daughter's name on camera? I just wanted to make sure I heard you.
As soon as I said it, I kind of backpedaled like, so we can just leave it.
Okay. I won't say her name again, but I got to see pictures the other day, and she is just the cutest thing in those cheeks. Yeah. And I think, got some Scotty Swingler eyes, and
she does.
She does. Yeah. But a good combination of her parents, and what a cutie, man! Wow. I meant to mention that to you. I got to see some pictures, so that was good. Okay, Scotty, let's hit the breaking news sounder, please. I like this. Even when it's not breaking news, I may ask you just to keep doing that. CNB, Central National Bank, thank you very much. Thank you, Scotty. Scotty's at the bank right now. Or excuse me, thank you, Brian Fonville. He's at the bank right now, just watching this. Look at all these things I have behind me today. Oh, Scotty, as of Friday, we'll have the 4K, we'll have the beautiful sound, we'll have all the things that people have grown accustomed to with the Mosley show. We'll be back in business probably as early as Friday afternoon show. We may be a little delayed Friday in that we need to set some of that up. And of course, that's when we'll probably want to share our Switzer interview. So who knows, it may work out, but we'll be back to our normal Mosley in 1080p, the sound, the mic, everything that you expect from a high level show like this, a high level program. Okay, here is the breaking news. This is from Andrew Jones of 247 Sports, 247sports.com, an outlet owned by CBS, I believe. And he is reporting that there are potential exit strategy discussions that have occurred this morning at UNC involving Belichick. Scotty didn't even know if they're going to make it to the season. I think I've been saying, I mean, I've been kind of on this train too. I don't know how long this thing's going to go, and could he get fired during the season? And it says it doesn't mean Belichick will be fired, but preliminary conversations, quote, preliminary conversations about the possibility have occurred. What a disaster this is. And this is one first heard on the Mosley show. I think people were kind of shocked even to hear us say that he could get fired during this season. Even the people who knew how badly this was going thought, well, they'll let him coach out the season. We felt otherwise. He also, this reporter went on to say, he's quoting an unnamed source. He says, there are many other violations that have occurred, many on the recruiting front. Goodness gracious. Reports emerged as an assistant coach was suspended for providing extra benefits to player families and that players were selling free tickets they'd received for games. Now, that report we had the other day. And so you're not supposed to do that. They sent a thing to the players saying you're not supposed to do that. To think this doesn't go on at other places, we'd be crazy. Sure it does. But right now the spotlight is on UNC. Jones, this reporter, goes on to say, I don't think it's a lock that Belichick coaches the Cow game. What? Scotty, the Cow game will be played in Berkeley in only 2 days. That's a Friday night game that'll kick off at 9:30 our time. 9:30 our time. Oh, the old UNC Cal rivalry. Oh, you never know what will happen when those two. This weekend, you've got Cal UNC and Texas OU. Two of the big ones. Whoa. This thing needs to happen in a hurry, and that's big. That is really, really big. As we kind of monitor all this with that. I mean, Scotty, I mean, all this stuff's happening. This wasn't even how we were going to open the show because we got some other stuff to react to. I'll tell you what we'll do, Scotty. If we want to, we can lead Campus Confidential with that other big thing we were going to talk about. And that I'll be fine with that because you have some thoughts. I know that some interesting parallels to a story we're going to tell about Arch Manning and about the coverage of him and about something that has gotten completely out of hand. And it's not often that the two of us are going to be on here defending the Longhorns. And just the other day, I was making fun of Sark for some of his whining and, oh my gosh, nobody else has to play. You know, they got to go to the swamp and got to go to Ohio State. Okay. All right. Hey, take it up with your AD. If you didn't like going to Ohio State, take it up with Chris Del Conte. Don't take it up with the rest of us. Your fan base doesn't care. You think your fan base is like, well, poor old Sark had to go to Ohio State and then he had to go to the swamp. As Scotty brought up, guess who did not have trouble at the swamp? The old South Florida Bulls. The South Florida bleeping Bulls. They went out there, the swamp, had a big time, and beat them. And then, of course, Texas like, oh man, we got to go to the swamp. That's tough. That's tough. We did well to even get beat 29-21. You were ranked #1 in the country. I know you didn't ask for it. I know you weren't the one who ranked them that high. But the folks got together and they said, we're going to put you #1 in the country. Now unranked. Penn State, right up there in the top 5. Hello, Nittany Lions. How about why don't we put you up there about #3 in the country? How's that sound, James Franklin? Unranked. Unranked at this point. It's an amazing, amazing thing. Scotty, do we have anybody else that's unranked now that was started the year at a very high? Notre Dame, are they unranked?
State.
Penn
State.
Oh, I just said that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Notre Dame's still ranked.
Really?
I'm not sure any other super high ones have dropped out. We can discuss this later if you want, and maybe even tomorrow's show.
Florida
I
was
know that
probably
Texas
ranked. Florida was probably ranked, and I think after they beat Baylor, Auburn might have gotten ranked. And so all those
Auburn was
teams were
ranked, I
unranked.
think, 2
Yeah.
weeks after they beat Baylor for
Yeah.
a brief period, but never high. You asked about highly ranked. If you're ranked
Yeah.
20 something, that really. South Carolina dropped out of there for a little bit, but I think they've crept back up. The game that intrigues me and will be way more interesting to me, this won't surprise you, than Oklahoma, Texas, is you got a top 10 matchup at Alston Stadium, Indiana traveling to Oregon. And probably the two best quarterbacks in the country so far, Mendoza and Moore, going at it.
There are two programs that you've really thrown your weight behind, and you're not a man who weighs a lot, but you carry a big stick.
Thank you.
I would say the two teams that you've gotten the most behind, BYU and Indiana. And Indiana had one test this year, and they crushed Illinois. They passed that test. They had another test where they kind of flopped around for a while and then got it together. And I was getting ready to give you a hard time, but they got it together in that game and they pulled away. This is a monster they're getting ready to face.
Huge monster. You're correct.
These are the Ducks. These are the Ducks. And when we talk about the greatest coaches in college football right now, I'm sorry, you got to put Lanning in there with Ryan Day and the big boys.
I understand why you say that, and I know that's someone you've thrown your weight behind several times in the last 2 weeks. I think he's like the very top of the second tier for me. I think when you win a national championship, you're in a different category.
Kirby, Dan Lanning.
Yeah. See, to me, Kirby, Ryan, Dabo, those guys are in a tier of their own because they've won a national championship.
Yeah.
Lanning can get there this year.
Right. I mean, yeah, okay. Maybe they need to he needs to get that credential behind him. But Lord knows, if I'm starting a program and I can go pick whoever I want to pick, I'm not picking my man Dabo over
by the way,
in a million years. Yeah.
I put Lanning.
But what he's accomplished, okay, I'll give you that.
Lanning and Marcus Freeman, I think, would headline that very A- tier for me, where they're just a championship away from being all time.
Let me add one to that tier. The great Mike Elko.
Oh my! I'm gonna quit your show. I'm gonna walk off your show, Matt. Stop it, sir. You are
Mike Elko. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable.
By the way, just to correct you though, the only time I've said anything about BYU is on that one Green and Gold Game Day show when we were talking about the Big 12.
You went crazy. You got a helmet. So once you have, even though it was one big reaction,
listen,
you came across as a huge BYU guy, at least on
the two teams outside of Waco that I've thrown my weight behind, and I picked both of them to make the playoff in my preseason playoff bracket that I did on Pete's show. Indiana, yes. Georgia Tech is going to win the ACC. I'm sticking with it.
I need to go back to the tape and make sure that was a preseason thing for you, and not.
I'll send you the link.
Opening. Okay, I don't need it right now. You can send me the link later tonight. Okay, we do have some Campus Confidential coming up. There was one more point I wanted to make on those teams, but I tell you what, we'll start Campus Confidential because we've got a lot to say about Arch Manning, the way he's being covered, and a real idiotic, and I know the guy who wrote it, I've known him for years, and just an inappropriate and idiotic coverage. Okay, I'm not saying you can't say, that the guy has played poorly and that the guy has not met expectations. But what was written about Arch Manning went too far. we discuss next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge,
Yes?
and you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Colin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_HTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Welcome back, Mosley Show. Hey, before the break, Mosley was doubting the fact that I had been on the Georgia Tech bandwagon since preseason. I'm pleased to announce I have found that clip. I will be cutting it up and showing it before the end of the show today. Just to, I don't say things just to say them. I say them and mean them with my chest. That means when I'm wrong, everybody knows it. But here's one thing I'm not wrong about. Underdog. Great way to stay engaged with college football. This weekend with Baylor not playing, I'm looking forward to watching some teams around the country, including my Indiana Hoosiers and Georgia Tech Jackets. Here are my picks for this weekend's games. And if you want to pick along with me, use that promo code. You could win some cash. I've got Haynes King of Georgia Tech, higher than half a rushing touchdown. That is money. He's done that just about every game this season. The last time I played this in an Underdog combo, it hit. So Haynes King, higher than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. He is just a machine on the ground. He is the engine that makes that Georgia Tech car go. Then that, like I just said to Matt, the two best college quarterbacks in the country, nobody would have picked these guys preseason. But it has been Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, 1 and 2 on most people's draft boards for this year's draft so far. And Dante Moore, you can take for higher than 2.5 passing touchdowns. Fernando Mendoza, higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Both these guys all season have only missed those marks once. I think those are good takes. And then I went back to the Big 12 Arizona State, a huge trip to Utah. Sam Levitt, higher than 182.5 passing yards. Listen, Utah's defense got torched by Baron Morton and then a true freshman, Will Hammond. I expect Sam Levitt to throw for higher than 200 passing yards in this game. So that was an easy pick for me. And I did do the flex picks on Underdog, which means if I get 3 of these, I still win money. If I get 4, I win even more money. Remember, if you sign up with this promo code Mosley, spelled just like this on the screen, you put in $5, Underdog will give you $50 in bonus funds just to play with 10x your cash right up front, just so you can play for the rest of college football season. I would encourage you to do it. And if you want to make some money, you should make the same picks that I just told you that I made for the weekend. And without further ado, the promo code Mosley is not just a promo code, it's the last name of our fearless leader, Matt Mosley.
So fearless. Thank you, Scotty. We will not have time on today's program to show anything about Georgia Tech. There are some things that I like what you said. You lead with your chest when you're wrong. I don't know. I don't know if I would say that on a certain thing that happened recently involving us debating a tight end. I still would like to see maybe a public tweet or something that is a little more forward facing. So anyway, it is time. Cherry Johnson, Sigmund James, big time law firm. Unbelievable. The trucking accidents that happen, car accidents. I mean, infringement on copyright. I mean, like, there's so many incredible stuff in the workplace that they do, and it's just an incredible law firm, and we're so happy to be associated with them. Cherry Johnson, Sigmund James, in Ascension, Providence, of course, and then our presenting sponsor, Central National Bank. And just in the past 24 hours, Scotty, someone has reached out to us, and they said, well, we're in the wealth management business, and we'd love to be associated with Mosley Show. And I said, well, we'll talk to you. We'd love to consider things and see where you are, and love to talk. So love that folks are reaching out to the Mosley Show. In fact, a big conversation, big meeting of the minds is happening Friday in the Metroplex involving the Mosley Show and Rogue Media Network. Okay, Scotty, it is time for Campus Confidential. And I know today it might be a time, Scotty, we've got all kinds of breaking news, which I hit earlier, but we also have something from yesterday that really made a lot of folks mad. So we may have somehow, it's hard to do, but we may have found a way to get folks to have some empathy or sympathy for the someone from the University of Texas.
Yeah, man. And how do I say this writer's last name? I don't want to botch this.
Leach.
Great. That's not what I would have guessed. So that's perfect. Will Leach of The Athletic authored this story. I believe it came out late yesterday. As you said, writing long form sports content, Matt, you did it for years. My good buddy Shahan Jayaraj is one of the best in the business right now. It is hard. And I don't want to come across as overly critical, but this story to me is just about as clickbaity as a long form sports article can get. Headline: is Arch Manning college football's first flop? Why his slow start feels unprecedented. This article goes as far as to say that society loves flops and compares Arch Manning to several things, including the Broadway musical Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, which is one of the most infamous productions in human history. Matt, this is ridiculous. For one, Baylor fans who make up a lot of our listeners might remember names like Robbie Rhodes or what was the defensive end's name? McGee. I can't remember his first name. 5-star recruits that chose Baylor and were out within a year. There are kids constantly. Trendavian Dixon is one I believe A&M fans might remember. There are kids constantly who have very high expectations placed upon them coming out of high school for whatever reason and don't even finish their careers as college football players. Secondly, most of this article is calling Arch Manning a flop because of the amount of endorsement deals and NIL money he's been able to generate for himself. And I don't know. For me, if you have an opportunity to go make some money, you should do it. And that doesn't have anything to do with your success or failure on the field. And then lastly, this man, I have been critical of Arch Manning this season. He has played poorly. Like there's no getting around the fact that Paul Feinbaum was going on and on in the preseason about how he's the best SEC quarterback since Tim Tebow, and he has been mediocre at best this season. However, he's like 6 games into his career. And I saw a comp today that said, who was it comparing him to? Like who are some of the rookie? Cam Ward. It said this would be like declaring right now that Cam Ward with the 1-4 Tennessee Titans is already the biggest bust in NFL history because he's played 5 games. That's insane. Like that's insane. We don't know who Arch Manning is going to become. We don't know how good he could be. Matt, he could transfer out of Texas and go to like a Big 12 school or an ACC school, take the Carson Beck route and kill it. Think about Carson Beck right now. Number 2 Miami might be the best team in the country.
Yeah.
It's just an insane overreaction, clickbait, and as you and I talked about before the show, the hardest part if you are an empathetic person is Arch did not choose the last name on his birth certificate and who his uncles are. And as we've seen with many children of athletes, Bronny James most recently in his journey to the NBA, we put these expectations on kids for their last name. Most of them will not live up to it. They just won't. And he didn't choose that, Matt. So
I do think with this one, it's been so shocking in that Peyton and Eli were so great and his grandfather was so great back in the day that I think we all had like a can't miss. We didn't. I think the shock is that's as bad as it is. Not that he was going to be just perfect, but there aren't more like great moments. But to your point, first of all, to insinuate there's never been a college football flop is a joke. I mean, like you just named a few from Baylor. Every college has them. There was one college quarterback, Scotty, that bounced around for years, and he was thought of as a 5-star guy. And I guarantee you, this was like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and we still think of his name. And he flopped. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. It happens. And, you can either let it define you or not. You move on with your career, but you're right. There seems to be, I read the whole thing, and I would advise you, Scotty, to read it because, like, there's a line down there. The problem with writing something like this is by the time you get down to where you're tempering things, like basically much of this is unfair to Arch, the writer says. Well, yeah, but like you're the one also being very unfair because to your point, it's almost like they're holding Peyton and Eli's, all the commercials they do against him. Like, first of all, I can't say that I turn on the TV and see tons and tons of Arch commercials. But again, it kind of
by the way,
here's the way I read it. Hold on just one second. It started to read to me, having been someone who's done a lot of this, that he has something personally against the Manning family. there's bits of this story, and just so you have a little background, Scotty, Will Leach started and was the biggest writer of Deadspin back in the day. That's who this is. I knew him early in my days at ESPN. I came on as like their top. I was the NFL blogger for all 32 teams, and this dude came after me, and it didn't feel great. You know, Deadspin was a big deal at the time. But anybody who got like a decent size type job or gig, they were going to come for you, right? And if I did enough Googling, I could find Will Leach coming after me. Now, of course, a couple of years later, he called my blog at the Super Bowl the best Super Bowl blog anybody's ever done. But it was, you know, in my mind, it was too late. You know, he'd already come after me or something. All right, and then Scotty, I want to get to. And I want to I'll let you say what you're going to say. I do want to get to what he wrote that grabbed so many people. Because if he didn't lead with this, it might not have been that big of a deal. But the headline of the tweet, and by the way, maybe it was smart of them. I think it makes The Athletic look bad, and the New York Times, who owns The Athletic. I think it's beneath them. I looked a minute ago, Scotty, and this tweet that they put out that had the headline, 6.5 million views. So you can say bad job, and I think that's accurate. But they'll say we got an incredible amount of traffic on this. What were you going to say before? Well, I want to read out loud the part that has made everybody so mad.
Well, that just goes back to my point that it's clickbaity, right? They did it for clicks and they got their clicks. So hopefully it doesn't lose them subscribers like me who are subscribed just because I thought it was the one last place for like really strong sports writing consistently for the whole country. You mentioned earlier, you mentioned the Manning family and the endorsements thing. Quinn Ewers had endorsements last year on national TV, guys. Like the bottom line is the quarterback for the Texas Longhorns is going to get national endorsement deals no matter the name on the back of the jersey. That's going to come with the position from now on. That is one of the 3 biggest brands in college football for my money. And with Sark there, it's going to be a destination for good quarterbacks. Now add to it that he shares a last name with a Hall of Fame NFL quarterback and potentially another Hall of Fame NFL quarterback. 2 Hall of Fame and then maybe another one, right? Like it was inevitable. So I don't know how you fault a Texas Longhorns quarterback for having endorsement deal. That's just insane to me.
Well, yeah, and I think even Arch was kind of reluctant. And this writer says, hey, how ridiculous that is. I don't think Arch was a look at me. He does not come across like that at all. And I think it was kind of overwhelming at the SEC media days and when he was walking around and cameras and like hundreds of people were gathered around. I thought that was pretty overwhelming.
Matt, if he was a look at me guy, if he was an ego about himself guy, he could have said or done so many things last season to draw attention as the backup to Quinn Ewers when the fan base was clamoring for him every time Quinn Ewers threw an interception. Put in Arch. He could have totally fed into that. But the dude was a consummate teammate. By all accounts, worked his butt off, came into some of the games and played well when they put him in, didn't complain. Like, I think all accounts seem like he's an A-plus person. And again, he's not the one who came out and said, I'm a favorite for the Heisman Trophy. I should be the number 1 draft pick. Paul Feinbaum and all these other talking heads and NFL scouts did that before he became a starter. So none of that is his problem. This is more about a problem in how we do media and sports media in the current age on social media, way more than anything to do with Arch Manning.
Well, and it's
and this article is part of that, by the way.
It's Will Leach is someone who doesn't really cover college football, and so this feels like coming in off the top rope with just some craziness because the odds of Will Leach having ever interviewed Arch or anybody, or any of these college football stars is so, again, that's his background. Now, he is a good writer. You can read through this, and it could have been a more interesting, but there's no nuance to it. He needed a better editor, and this is beneath the Athletic, okay, in a lot of ways. And I know the college editor there. Maybe I should reach out and just go, hey, I think I could do some better stuff than this. Here are the sentences that set everything on fire. Many people are having a bad year in college football, but Arch Manning is having one of the worst. The Texas quarterback has gone from preseason Heisman Trophy favorite and projected #1 NFL draft pick to a man synonymous with failure. Okay, that's just too, that's when you need an editor to step in and go, that's too much. That's
way too much.
Yeah. And
again, Matt, he's played like 5 or 6 games. Again, failure might still be part of his story down the road. But to me, failure is like he doesn't even get drafted, or he's not starting anywhere next season, and that's not going to happen. It's too much. You said it right. It's too much.
He says, I suspect his life is going to work out just fine, but he said, I don't want to overdo it with a pity party here. His name is Arch Manning. I suspect his life's going to work out just fine, but I do wonder if it might behoove us to give a 21-year-old a little bit of grace and some room to grow. How do you write that after you've said his name has become synonymous
with failure? Yeah, great room to grow there, buddy. You're the leading example.
Like a crisis of conscience, okay, let's come back and say maybe we should show the young man a little bit of grace. By
the way,
yeah,
we got to get over this Arch Manning thing as a society, as a sports media culture, because there are more of these kids coming. By the way, there are more Manning boys coming down the road. One of the top high school prospects right now is Phillip Rivers' oldest kid. Are we gonna? I know Phillip Rivers isn't Peyton and Eli Manning, but are we going to do this to Phillip Rivers' kid just because he's Phillip? We've got to figure out how to let these young kids be themselves, make their own path, have their own success.
This is a perfect storm. This is it's just the Manning name. It would not be the same with Rivers. It's almost hard to find any. All these Mannings, and this is not Arch's fault, but they were just all way too good, because you got 2 Super Bowls apiece for the brothers. You got Super Bowl MVPs. You got MVPs, league MVPs with Peyton, and you got Archie, who was just Archie was just the all-time great dude. He played for some bad Saints teams, but he's one of the more beloved college football players and just dudes ever. And this kid is born into that family. So my answer to what you're saying is, I know they're coming along, but Iguodala and whoever the other Baylor famous kid is that they have on the way, who's the other one? Baylor has another.
Monty Williams kid, Isaac Williams.
Yeah, that's a whole different experience. Not that Iguodala is not a big name and all of that, but I don't see any flop stories, because first of all, most of the country doesn't know if this kid's supposed to be great or not good. Now, if he were a 5-star monster, Iguodala is supposed to be the next LeBron, yeah, then you could have some of that. But most kids just don't.
Well, again, we've seen it with Bronny James. Yeah.
So, all right, the quick hitting session that Campus Confidential is. Let's keep this going. What do you have for us?
2 stories coming out of the NCAA today. I'll go ahead and throw both of them to you, and we can react to either one. One of them is not so much a surprise. We reported this last week as a potential happening, but the NCAA officially adopted one transfer portal for college football, 15 days, January 2nd through 16th. Again, we kind of knew last week this was going to happen, but it's become official. Think that's an improvement over the pre-spring, post-spring, all that junk. And then stranger, Matt, and we talked about this before the show, but NCAA Division I Administrative Committee adopted a proposal to allow student athletes and athletic department staff to bet on professional sports. So again, before this, you could not bet on sports, period, if you were an NCAA athlete or in administrative staff. Now you can bet as long as it's professional sports. And the quote, and I told you, this sounds like how we handle other things in society, and it's just weird to hear it applied to sports betting, of all things. This quote from the NCAA's chief medical officer about sports gambling. Abstinence-only approaches to social challenges for college-aged individuals are often not as successful as approaches that focus on education about risk and open dialogue. So, Matt, apparently we are allowing college athletes to have open dialogue and take some risk by gambling on professional sports. Of all the things the NCAA could be doing, this one is odd, dude.
Yeah. This is almost like I was kind of shocked one time. I was sitting at school and like they had a speaker, and I, of course, had been to the FCA leadership camps, and they had Josh somebody. He was the guy that kind of was giving out promise rings and stuff, and he had the why wait. Scotty, you probably would know that guy's name, Josh somebody. And he had a book, and it was, his abstinence was what you'd always heard, especially growing up in Southern Baptist Church. And we have a gathering in church, or excuse me, at the school, and you got a guy up there like talking about condoms and just like, hey, this is what you need. This is what you, and it's just like, whoa, wait a second. This is not what my parents are saying at home. They're not encouraging us to know about those things. So that was a little further education than I was accustomed to. And I'm sure, think about that. I mean, like all for years, stay away from it. Don't gamble. Don't do that. Don't do it. I mean, so there might be some method to this madness. Like, let's let, I mean, they're going to do this anyway. But it does, I think you and I both had that immediate reaction. This was almost like a sex ed type thing. It's kind of like, well, they're probably going to want to gamble on these pros. It's better to have a dialogue than to have these rules and shut them down when they get on FanDuel. And first of all, I think the NCAA and even the sports commission that's there now, they're tired of having to look at so many things. So if they could just let these kids, hey, if they want to play fantasy football or they want to gamble on the NFL, let's show them how. Let's have a little deal. Now, again, invariably, if you create the access and you relax the rules, we're already seeing it like crazy. They're going to bet on their own games. They're going to bet on games that they know about. They're going to bet on games like, well, I know the Big 12. I know the ACC. And they're going to try to bet on those games too. And of course, we've seen them get caught. So it is interesting how you're going to relax the rules to a certain extent, but you lose your whole career if you bet on games you're involved with or you bet on college sports. But hey, we're going to let you bet on pro sports. That is interesting. One more thing I had for you, Scotty, on the portal thing from January 2nd to 16th. Is Ryan Day okay with this? I mean, I didn't think we could do anything without asking Ryan Day and the Big Ten what they thought, but I guess so. I guess he can't overturn this anymore. Important change in the language here. Players whose head coaches have departed get fired or leave, I guess, get a 15-day portal period 5 days after a new coach is hired. All right, so if a head coach has departed, the 15-day portal period happens so that it gives the new coach a little bit of a window to try to keep the players who might be ready to leave. This is interesting. And this is designed to help some of these schools who feel like they have no chance of keeping any of these kids. This helps them to a certain extent. Scotty, the way this used to be written, I believe, is when it happened, when the coach got fired or quit or whatever, I thought the portal kind of almost opened up automatically then. This is an interesting little deal. 15 days of portal time that starts 5 days after the new coach is hired. All right, Scotty, do you have any more for us? Do you have any more Campus Confidential?
Yeah, I know you're particularly interested in this player, and just was looking for updates. There's not a new update so far today, but as of yesterday, John Mateer is pushing to return to play for Oklahoma against Texas on Saturday. He is recovering from a surgery on a broken bone in his throwing hand, and although Coach Venables will not commit one way or the other if he'll play or not, he did comment yesterday, Venables did, that he has not even thrown in against air. Like he had, at least as of yesterday, he hadn't even gotten back out there and practiced in any kind of football drill whatsoever. So still remains to be seen, Matt. Now you did send me something interesting. We speculated on yesterday's show that Texas 1.5 point favored in that game was because Mateer was not playing. Turns out, it's being reported, that 1.5 Texas line is considering that he will play, and Texas would actually be a 5.5 point favorite if Mateer doesn't play. I find that
No, that line jumps up to Oklahoma. No, I'm sorry, Scotty. I got to look at that again. But the line jumped to 5.5.
Let me look again.
To Oklahoma being favored if Mateer's in that game.
I thought I read the opposite in that tweet.
No,
Let me look again.
That's okay. If Mateer if Mateer is in the game, the line does move just like we thought it would.
No.
And it would move to 5.5 the Oklahoma.
No. I'm going to read the tweet again. It's Josh Pate says, per FD Sportsbook, Texas is -1.5 with Mateer assumed playing. Without Mateer, they would make the game Texas -5.5. So
if Mateer doesn't play, Texas is going to be a 5.5 point favorite. So he does swing it, but they're trying to factor in that Mateer might play. First of all,
I just don't know how Texas is favored in this game, period.
Yeah. Except that the bettors, well, first of all, they seem to always know. They do have their memory that's still fairly fresh of Hawkins playing in this game, I think, right? Didn't Jackson Arnold and Hawkins both play in a game in which OU got obliterated? I do think this is a better OU team, and I think Hawkins is a lot better and certainly has more experience and reps under his belt. But it's hard to shake the memory of Oklahoma just looking horrific with Jackson Arnold and Hawkins playing in that game. Now, that's interesting. 1.5, and then it goes to 5.5 Texas favorite if he doesn't play. The disrespect for OU and Venables is huge from that sports book. Again, they're just looking at what one sports book would do. That doesn't mean every sports book would be on that, but a lot of them do kind of line up, are closely aligned. But that's interesting, Scotty.
But your point about the disrespect is so valid. Like Arch Manning, I know we were just trying to kind of defend him a little bit here, but let's just talk football for a second. The dude has put up all his numbers against UTEP, San Jose State, and Sam Houston. And we're talking about Venables, who for years was one of the best defensive coordinators in the sport. You don't think that dude knows exactly how to make Arch Manning uncomfortable, even if Mateer doesn't play quarterback for Oklahoma? Like, Oklahoma's defense is going to know exactly how to defend him.
Yeah.
And make him uncomfortable. And who knows, maybe he breaks out and has a great game, but like the history so far would not suggest that.
I think they're disrespecting the OU offense and quarterback with Hawkins probably. And I just can't, I mean, OU's so much better. Although, Scotty, let's think through it. They've only beaten Auburn at home. And while we thought Auburn was okay, Auburn has continued to lose football games. Auburn then lost this next week to A&M. Those are tough games. At OU and at A&M. They opened at Baylor, and they got a road win. Is that OU's most impressive win to this point? Is beating Auburn at home? Because if it is, no, wait, who did OU beat early in the season? They had one decent win. Bottom line is, I don't think Vegas really respects either team here. They probably respect University of Texas more than most of us right now, based on how they were number one in the country to start the season.
They beat Michigan in their second game.
That's it.
And I will just say, even if Auburn,
that game was at OU, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. We don't know. I mean, Michigan's okay.
Well, listen, even if their best win was Auburn or Michigan is a better win than San Jose State or Sam Houston. I mean, what are we talking about? Like Oklahoma has put way more on paper and on tape than Texas. They have.
Yeah. This is twofold, and this is what fascinates me about betting this game and talking about Texas OU, because what happens in that game sometimes is so disconnected from everything coming up to it. And that's why so many random quarterbacks have won that game. Like the Swoops kid, is it Tyrone Swoops, Cheryl Swoops' nephew? Years ago, he was not good at Texas. Okay, he did not have they thought he was going to be good. I can't remember if he was from somewhere out near past Anna, Van Alstyne, or somewhere out that direction. He was from a small school, but he beat OU. He beat a good OU team, and even Peter Gardere is not one of the great UT quarterbacks of all time. But guess what he did, Scotty? He went 4-0 against OU, and so he's a made man in University of Texas lore, right? So I think Vegas has a very hard time with this game because the way it's played and the outcomes seem so disconnected from whatever's happening leading up to that game. So that'll be interesting to watch. All right, Scotty, do you have another one? Thank you, ma'am. May I have another?
The only other one I had, and we already hit it, was this Belichick stuff. And I feel like I checked Twitter again just a second ago. No new updates, but I mean, if we're going to write about synonymous with failure in college football, I think I would author my article on Belichick before Arch. I mean,
you just hit it. You just hit what I was thinking about when we got into the whole Arch thing. And it made me, and then of course I started thinking about something else, but it totally made me think of that. Like, how can you call this kid five, six games into his college career? Now he's played some other games, but as the official starter at the University of Texas, he had to play in when Ewers was hurt. How can you not if you want to talk about flops, first of all, to what we talked about, Scotty, a joke to act like this is the first true flop in college football history. This just happens to be a Manning. And while there have been other famous names and the sons of those names, by the way, there was one at the University of Texas. And I don't know why we don't even talk about this more right now. Chris Sims was the son of Phil Sims, who was a star quarterback in the NFL for the New York Giants, at least was on 2 Super Bowl teams, won one of them. One of them he was hurt for, and Hostetler won it. But Chris Sims had a huge last name. And while he was okay, he did not live up to expectations, to the point where Major Applewhite, they started Chris Sims, but later in the year they brought Major Applewhite back and put him in as a starter, and he was the more beloved of the two. So we've got like a pretty good parallel right there. And Scotty, I know at one point you had a good one, and I don't want to say it for you because you may want to use that on here at some point. But with a famous younger brother at the University of Texas. But what you said is so true. Like, if you want to go after Belichick, he's fair game. You're 5 games into his collegiate head coaching career, and it's horrific. And it's fair because he is a 73-year-old man who is arguably, and maybe it's not even that tough of an argument to make, obviously, because of all the Super Bowls he has. He's the greatest NFL coach of all time, and he has been a disaster to the point where Scotty was bringing that up. The reason he brought it up is because there's breaking news today that there have already been preliminary talks of an exit strategy to get him out of UNC. Either fire him during the season or after the season, get him out and move him on. That's how bad it is. You want to talk about a flop? That's a million times more of a flop than what is happening to Arch Manning. Arch just stepped into a 2 back-to-back playoff teams. Sark was riding high, enormous name, the Manning family, and through his first 5 or 6 games of his true college football career, he has certainly not met expectations. His career is certainly not over. We are seeing what almost certainly has to be the ending of Bill Belichick's coaching career. So these things are not the same. But this article in The Athletic was like, almost trying to make it the same. Here's a man whose name has become synonymous with failure at the collegiate level. Talking about Arch Manning. Give me a break. First of all, you're just overwriting the thing. You didn't have a good editor. And The Athletic, again, it happens at every level. Athletic's not the first publication to allow a bad column to come out. You think it hadn't happened at my paper over the years, the Dallas Morning News? Has it happened at ESPN.com? You bet it has. But this was a joke. And everybody's right to come out and dunk on this thing because it was bad and it was overwritten and it needed better editing. And Will Leach is not a bad writer, but he doesn't know college football that well. And maybe he does. But in this instance, he way overdid it. And The Athletic deserves the backlash it's getting. But good point, Scotty. Sorry, you made me go off on that a little more because that was a good point about Bill Belichick. Not even, no comparison. This guy's career is over. Now, that doesn't mean he's still not going to be remembered as the greatest NFL head coach of all time, but he's a complete flop as a college head coach. He has embarrassed himself. And I don't think he'll get another season. That is Campus Confidential. All right, we'll get you caught up. We got some breaking news across the NFL and a lot to update you on. We've heard from the Shoddy man himself, Brian Schottenheimer, and what's going on with the Cowboys. We'll react to it. We'll do that next.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. bizchair.com. Your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business. Level up your game with Corsair, the global leader in high-performance gear for gamers, content creators, and PC enthusiasts. From award-winning PC components to premium streaming equipment, smart lighting, and esports coaching services, Corsair delivers an ecosystem designed for peak performance. Whether you're a casual gamer or a pro, alleviate your setup with Corsair. Shop now at Corsair.com. That's Corsair.com. Corsair. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Born from a third-generation lighting family, we craft beautifully designed, premium lighting that's made to be affordable. Inspired by Grandma Mitzi's eclectic style, we're on a mission to make high-quality lighting accessible to all. Whether you're updating your space or adding a unique fixture, Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open-source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
It is Matt Mosley's show, and we roll on this Wednesday, and we'll hear hopefully from Barry Switzer either tomorrow or Friday, and that's always fun. And then a lot of times I like to get a hold of Tony Casillas this week. You know, it'd be fun, Scotty. I hadn't even thought about this until this very moment, but the Boz. Get the Boz on, man. The Boz he's making those commercials, doing a nice job on those Dr. Pepper commercials. That would be a good one to have on, but we'll have to give that some consideration. We do have some and we've got a lot going on today, so we may end things just a tad early, but I did want to tell you, as of just about an hour ago, a little less than an hour ago, CeeDee Lamb getting in some work on the resistance cords. That's always a good sign. That resistance cords, when you're covering a team, means they're getting closer to a comeback. I'm not saying he's for sure going to play. I think it'd be a long shot to have CD back for the Panthers this weekend, but I think that's a good. I think that's a good. I think it's a good sign for the Cowboys, and this out of nowhere Ryan Flanoy story. I mean, when he had that career day. I thought that was kind of cool. We had Schottenheimer talking about it today. He said, guys like that, they get thrown in the mix and then they have success. It's so important because they can build on that. So I think that's a good one to watch, and that's one of the reasons maybe they don't have to race him back to practice. CeeDee Lamb as quickly as they might in the past. And I also like the fact that talking about offensive play calling today, Schottenheimer had this to say: I don't really call plays to try to get a ball to a spot in the field. I call plays to get balls to people. You're always going to feature your elite players. We have a lot of elite players. Well, that's good to know. Dak is doing an incredible job of reading progressions, and the first open guy is going to get the ball, and I think that's what you are seeing. Okay, so I think that is a good approach. I did want to tell everybody today, I love this time of year because I like day on these ALDS series. You get some day baseball. And the Tigers and the Mariners are getting it on right now on Fox Sports 1, and they're in the top of the second. They're still scoreless there as the Tigers are trying to hang in there. Seattle up 2-1 there, and so in that series, I should say. And so Milwaukee leads the Cubs in that series 2-0. Yankees fought back last night. And Scotty, I've been trying to, man, I want you to just cling in there and love this postseason baseball. I'm not sure you're feeling it like I am, but Aaron Judge last night, trailing 6-3, 3-run homer, has his huge postseason moment. And, here he comes. And Mariners were feeling great about things. Yankees feeling like, dang it, our season is probably coming to an end, and Judge steps up. You see Toronto leading the series 2-0, and Judge and this in the there it is, foul ball. But you're in the fourth inning of this game, and this is a guy who, and I mean, look at him. He's having a fine postseason, but in the past, he's kind of gotten a rough go for not being there in the postseason. And okay, Scotty, I didn't know you were going to get the whole at bat for me. Maybe this will add to the pageantry of it. All right, Scotty's giving us the entire at bat, but I mean, this was Yankees were in a bad spot last night in this series, and it just did not feel good. In fact, it was 6-1 earlier in this game, and obviously Judge is down with an 0-2 count. There it is. See, I like the build-up, Scotty. There it is right there. Off the foul pole. And that brings back the Yankees in this series 6-6. They come back, win this thing 9-6. And what a monster moment in this postseason. This pitcher was staked to a 6-1 lead, and the Yankees claw back. They win this game 9-6. And what a great moment for Aaron Judge. And, much like Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers, for years he was the best pitcher of his generation, but he wasn't great in the postseason. Judge has battled some of that a little bit. And to see Judge have like a huge moment like that was a lot of fun. And Kershaw obviously came back and was it 3-4 seasons ago, had a huge moment in the World Series in the postseason. And I think that alleviated some of that postseason talk. And to me, Kershaw will always go down, if not the best pitcher of his generation, at least right there. I think the only reason you would argue for Madison Bumgarner is because he was so incredible in the postseason and he put up just monster numbers. And so that's the only reason you would make an argument there for Madison Bumgarner. And as we speak, Scotty, the Seattle Mariners have taken a 1-0 lead in the top of the second over the Tigers as they try to close this series out. So some life for the Yankees. And again, we'll continue to monitor all of this. And we had the story earlier today on Shedeur Sanders. The Browns coach was not ready to tab Shedeur as the QB2, as the quarterback, the second string quarterback. And the Eagles star Saquon Barkley and Hurts downplay meeting with A.J. Brown. Apparently, they confirmed that they spoke with A.J. Brown earlier this week, but despite Philadelphia's recent offensive malaise, I love a good word like malaise. Okay, that's a M-A-L-A-I-S-E. Dismissed the notion that the meeting was contentious. There was some thought that the meeting, it had some raised voices, got contentious. And Saquon Barkley told reporters today, I felt like the conversation was meant to stay between us, but the focus was all about the team, and I think it was a good thing. I would definitely say it wasn't like a players' meeting. When you hear a players' meeting, that's like all hell's breaking loose. Okay. It wasn't that at all, but also that we're teammates. We're all friends. We're just having a conversation. I like this. I like that. I mean, that's how I kind of wish the Cowboys were like this. You're coming off a Super Bowl. You're 4-1. You do get beat at home by Denver, but you're 4-1. You're still tied. You're one of the better teams in the NFC. I know the Lions are riding high right now, but you're like having contentious meetings. This is like the Cowboys of the 90s. They were so good that when they'd lose a game, it was like all hell broke loose. That's what's happening with these Philadelphia Eagles. But the Cowboys, maybe they're putting something together. Scotty, last thing I have for you today. What will it take for Scotty Swingler for these Cowboys to get your attention? Does it take a win over Carolina? That gets them to 4-2-1, right? And then a victory over the Commanders. Would that get them to 5-2-1? It's hard to keep up with these. That tie really throws me off. But so they've gotten back to what? Have they gotten back to 2-2-1, or are they 3-2-1?
3-2-1.
We're sure about that. Okay. Okay. So what does it take for you to really?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. They're 2-2-1. 2-2-1.
Okay. So the 2-2-1. I knew I was questioning myself. They could get to 3-2-1, and then a victory over Commanders, 4-2-1. At that point, do you start taking a peek at the Cowboys as a legitimate playoff contender?
Yes. So as Matt, if there's one thing I like to believe about myself is that I'm fairly consistent. I don't flip flop on a lot of my things unless I'm presented strong evidence. As I said earlier this week, I'm not impressed when you beat the bottom of the barrel in the NFL. I'm not impressed by a win over the Jets. I'm doubly disappointed in a loss to the Bears. I'm not impressed by an overtime win over the Giants. Those are not good football teams. I feel that way about Carolina. So this Sunday, I think the Cowboys should beat Carolina. If they don't, I think it's a huge alarm bell. I think they should. If they beat Washington with assuming a healthy Jalen Daniels, that would capture my attention because I think Washington is a significantly better team. They're certainly in the top half of the NFL, if not the top 10. I think we're kind of waiting to see how Jaden Daniels shakes out and things work out the rest of the way. But yes, a win over Carolina and a win over Washington in particular would get my attention and make me think about the rest of the schedule. Because a win over Washington in this moment would shock me. It would be very surprising to me. I don't know how that defense is going to stop a quarterback as good as Jaden Daniels. I mean, Russell Wilson had the best game of his last 5 years of his career against this defense. I don't know how you stop a top 6-7 quarterback in the league.
The only thing I'll tell you, they've brought in the great Deron Bland since then. He's back.
I love Deron Bland.
And the pass rush just kind of had a little bite to it. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's because they were playing Fields and the Jets. But the Jets had a decent O-line. Watch out for this. So we'll see. But maybe so. Maybe the Commanders have too many weapons and they won't have a chance. But let's get there. Let's go to 3-2-1 and then make that game matter and bring some excitement that weekend. And then we'll read your reaction.
The storyline I will be so fascinated to watch in that Commanders game will be shoddy scheming versus Dan Quinn. That is fascinating to me.
Okay, so you have that, and hopefully we'll be coming off a Baylor road win over TCU, and then that'll be like a really exciting weekend.
Yeah.
Like green and gold, we're going on the road or whatever we do. I may meet you down in Hillsborough for this next one. It is Mosley, Central National Bank. Thank you. Thank you, Landing. Thank you, Brazos Landing. Thank you for what you do. Just unbelievable. And love the Lindsay family. Love the service. Love how we are. I mean, it's just it's hard to beat when you go to the Brazos Landing and you get that unique riverside dining. And you get the bang bang shrimp, and you get that salad, and you get maybe that some of that fried combo. Oh my gosh, the Landing, it's the best. And in fact, you've been seeing those commercials, and you can look at that. Oh, there it is, the New Orleans bar, that New Orleans kind of crescent type bar indoors. That's a gorgeous bar, but then outdoors by the river, people like sitting out there. That alligator bar. Call it what you will, but it's a beautiful scene right out there by the river. All right, it is the Mosley Show. We've got much more to come. Texas OU. I'm sitting down with Coach Switzer tomorrow. Friday we'll have more. We'll probably play that for you Friday. You just cannot imagine how much stuff behind the scenes is happening with the Mosley Show. And there's a lot of stuff that happens on the scene. For Scotty Swingler and the entire Rogue Family Network, I am Matt Mosley. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.